Fear is the greatest indicator of how we behave as animals. History has shown us how we as a society react to fears, and the definition of those fears has evolved throughout time. What do you fear today? What will you fear tomorrow? Amber Clay with her speech, Blanket of Fear. Blanket of Fear, Amber Clay.
Fear. It has the greatest impact on our instincts. No other emotion is depicted quite as much as fear in films. No other genre embodies as well as the zombie film. The zombie has evolved into a society striking close to our most primal of emotions, fear. As individuals, we identify with zombies, the unbridled, mindless consumers, as much as we are. Zombie films began entertaining audiences in 1932, during a time when society was dealing with disease, the problems of the world at our doorstep, and economic crisis. The zombies of this period were white-faced and caused by voodoo magic. It didn't become a genre until 1968 with the classic Night of the Living Dead. This movie broke new ground, showing that zombies only existed to eat the flesh of the living. The gory images showing of the undead eating human flesh were embraced by the new America during a time when blood and gore was invaded the family living room during the coverage of the Vietnam War. 10 years later, The Dawn of the Dead depicted the fears the audience of that time. America embarked on a new social norm with the end of the Vietnam era, social unrest, and the rise of the consumer culture. The film took place in a typical American shopping mall with a closer look at the ever-increasing level of consumerism. In 2002, 28 days later, revolutionized the zombie as a species, exploiting the fears connected with Ebola, SARS, AIDS, and other viruses. Now today, the ongoing series, The Walking Dead, looks at not only the threat of the zombie apocalypse, but how the individual characters dramatize the ongoing struggle of remaining human while slowly being absorbed by the non-human world. Viewers are thrown into a world where the very real threat of societal breakdown is imminent and intimidating. Fear. It is the greatest indicator of how we behave as animals, and the fear of what is seen on the screen is individual to each separate viewer. Each one of us has our own version of reality, life experiences which make every fear unique. Now, living out in the country, it becomes pitch black and is incredibly quiet at night. This is something I have grown accustomed to as every coyote and other animal noise breaks up the silence and frequents the night. However, one weekend, my husband was stuck out of town for several days, leaving myself and my daughter with only our little terrier to protect us, that and a shotgun. And that weekend, I made the terrible mistake of watching a marathon of The Walking Dead. As the night crept over my house, the tranquility of my home lost its charm. My imagination began to overtake me as the thought of a zombie apocalypse was not only imminent, but quite possibly happening right at that moment. I switched channels, sure to find late-breaking news of zombies rising from the dead. I made sure my shotgun was properly prepared, as I knew it was just a matter of time before one would be breaking into my home and I would need to shoot it through the head. Of course, my Night of the Living Dead never happened, but I've never completely gotten over that terror I felt that night. but I still continue to watch this show as if some strange addiction draws me to it. Since the onset of the zombie is to horrify us, it has embodied the fears that have been unleashed upon society, paralleling pivotal moments in history. And the zombie is able to evolve into what scares us the most, according to where we stand in our own history. As it is created, zombie is a society without its rules or adornments as mindless consumers. And could it be that we see ourselves in a zombie society? If reason is stripped away from humanity, there is fear in what the individual is capable of, and which is a disturbing thought in itself. The very thought of heinous acts being perpetrated by those around us, the impending threat of being consumed by a zombie apocalypse becoming more of a reality, force us to run under the covers to hide from that fear. But as we run under the covers of protection from those we fear the most, what is found under those covers is that fear waiting for us.